Welcome to SBW Talks. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce someone whose journey is a powerful testament to perseverance, purpose, passion. She is a mother, a leader, and a fighter, someone who has faced life's uncertainties with grace and emerged stronger each time. After navigating a long and emotional road filled with challenges, she was blessed with two beautiful twin children through IVF, a beautiful example of how science and determination can make dreams come true. But her nurturing spirit just doesn't stop at home. She often says, "My career is my third child," and with good reason. With the same dedication and love she pours into her family, she has built a remarkable professional path. Though she belongs to a minority community, she has faced and overcome barriers that many would find daunting. Yet, she has never left those challenges to define her. Instead, she has used them as a fuel to rise, to lead, and to inspire. Balancing a career and complex IVF treatment, which was emotional and had physical demands, while continuing to manage her responsibilities at work and home. Today, she serves as the Director of Healthcare Economics and Actuarial at Optum Health, where she brings not only her expertise, but also her empathy, her lived experiences, and her unwavering commitment to equity in healthcare. Please join me in welcoming an extraordinary woman, a devoted mother, and a visionary professional, Shoma Ghosh. Thank you, Shoma, for being part of SBW Talks as our guest speaker today.
Thank you so much, Neela. It's my absolute pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you. I've known you for a few years. I know the
Yes.
challenges, and you're doing amazing. As a mother, as a career woman, as a wife, you balance everything.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your appreciation here.
Well, thank you. So, Shoma, can you take us back to the moment you decided to pursue IVF, and what were the key factors that led you to take that step, like while managing such a demanding work life?
It's a tough one. We are planning babies since around early 2007, and we moved to US in early 2009. And within very few months, I realized I have health issues related to reproductive organs. I got operated, and then it's unbelievable. I was still in the surgical room, and then my gynecologist told me at that moment when I was extremely dizzy, she came to my ear and she told me that, Shoma, we had to take your ovaries out. Sorry, one of the ovary out. And then the very first question at that moment came to my mind is, can I conceive naturally? And she told, no, you need some help.
Wow.
That was the conversation. And right after that, I was very frustrated. I was having pain, the surgical pain, and I was thinking it all the time at the back of my head. And next morning, again, when she come for her regular checkup, and I talked to her and I said, can you explain me what did you mean by not through normal processes? She told, yes, you will have to go through in vitro fertilization. And then I took out the stress that I had for all over the night, and I thought, okay, there is some option, so why not to go through that? She did not say there is no option, there's no way. So I took it very positively, and I discussed that with my husband, and we decided, okay, we'll go for it. We have some choice. It's not that we do not have anything. So, and like while managing the work, it was again extremely hard. I focused at that for those few years only on two things. One is IVF and another is my work, nothing else. Work at that time worked as therapeutic to me because it's my passion, and I do not work just for money. For IVF, money is also very essential. We spend huge amount of money to get it done. A couple of failed IVFs as well. So even people asked me at that time, why don't I go to India? Because a lot of celebrities got successful IVF from India. Celebrities, they have different stories. And for me, I had to focus on my work. I had to continue with my job, and I had to get my IVF done. Both were equally important. And as I said, we needed money as well. I could not put everything on my husband. So I decided, okay, what we are doing is absolutely right and is going to work.
No, that's great. How did you feel like, let's go back a little bit. When you were in that hospital and that nurse told you that you're not going to be able to conceive.
It was my physician who did my surgery, she told.
Oh my God, that must have been like a little bit of trauma.
Yes.
Let's go back to that incident, like where you were in the hospital. What happened? Like, were you sick? You went in?
So I used to have a lot of pain in my lower abdomen. So I just ended up for my test, and they found I have a huge, almost the size of a grapefruit ovarian cyst that
Wow.
almost captured one of my ovaries.
Wow.
So doctor decided we'll have to do the surgery today itself. In the morning they found it and they scheduled it for the same evening.
Wow.
And the surgery started sometime early in the evening and it went until like later in the evening, almost like 9 or 9:30.
Wow. So it was a long process. So you were physically and
Yes.
mentally exhausted. And at the
Yes.
same time, the doctors are saying you're not going to be able to conceive.
Yeah, and I was in anesthesia mode as well.
Wow. And then they're like, okay, these are the options you have to conceive. And one was IVF.
Yes, that was the option she gave me next morning, because that night she only told me you cannot conceive naturally. What does that mean? When she came for her visit next morning, I asked her and she told that would be IVF.
So were you already like up and you were like comprehending, or were you still in a sedative state when she told you this?
When she talked about next morning, I was totally, like normal, but I
Normal.
did have surgical pains.
Yeah. And then was Koshik with you? Koshik is her husband for our
Yes.
viewers.
Yeah.
And so when they gave the options, so it takes a little bit of time to like take it all in, right?
Yeah, it does. But at that moment, somehow our mindset was that we, it doctor did not say I can never get pregnant, I can never have babies. She said it will happen, but with a different process. So that's fine.
Right. You are accepting of it, which is great.
Yeah.
So then tell us after that. So then how many years go by and then you start the IVF treatment?
We started the following year, which is in 2010, and then I had three failed IVF cycles. One of them, in fact, in ectopic pregnancy, and then the finally it worked when we were in Chicago in 2012. It was the end of 2012.
Wow. And people don't realize that IVF is a big journey. Can you tell us about that journey, Shoma?
Definitely, it's a big journey, because as I said, it's not necessary. Like here, something, even my physicians had told me that if we ask 100 very healthy couple that you will have to get pregnant within a month or 2 months, very few out of them could it would be possible for very few of them. It is science, but at the same time, how human body is working. So that is why I had to go through multiple processes, multiple IVF processes, and then they cannot perform one IVF right after one did not work. They'll have to prepare my body, they'll have to prepare the human body to understand, something is going to happen to you. Because in a natural conceive process where the body starts, everyone knows how it starts, right? From the fertilization to conceive process where the egg becomes an embryo, but here the embryos are happening outside in a lab. So my body doesn't even know that tomorrow I'm going to conceive.
Wow.
So that whole process takes time even for the body to adjust. So if one IVF cycle fails, the physicians, they take some time. They take minimum 6 to 9 months for the another one.
And this is all at the same time. You're going through this and you're working. You have no
Yeah.
family in this country. Tell us about that, about the support system. How did you balance your career going through this personal journey? Did you have a support system, friends, family, colleagues, that helped you through this process?
I feel my husband was and still is my biggest support system. He understands me since I met him.
Wow.
He realized what my heart wants. He knew that she cannot leave her job and fully focus on IVF. And he also realized, she desperately wants baby. And I was not that I'll have to get the baby whichever way that, my biological system works. Even I was open for adoption. But
Wow.
at that moment, being non-citizen of United States, we found that's going to be more difficult journey.
No one thinks about that. People conceive and they're like, yeah, we're going to have a baby, but no one thinks about the people who have a hard time. And that is so nice that you even thought of adoption. Very few people would think that. Kudos to you and Goshik for thinking of this. Like if IVF doesn't work, what's your other option?
Yeah, because we want a baby in our lives,
Children.
And my mother also, she keeps telling me, like, even if now at some point she sees that I'm giving up, she says, no, you cannot, you can do this. And at this moment, I feel like my kids also, they started understanding me, what she wants and what can give her satisfaction. So, I mean, that's a true blessing.
Did your work also support you in this?
So I do believe, because when I had my ectopic, one of my IVF cycles ended up in ectopic pregnancy. So, suddenly I had to take off, though, like some crucial internal meetings and presentations for me were scheduled. So at that time, the person who was my manager, he was very supportive. I found like next day a very beautiful message came with a nice bouquet.
Wow.
So
That's
that
a
was,
touching.
very encouraging, and nothing stopped there. I did not feel like, I am sick now, so I had to take one step backward again to come forward. I did not have to do that. They did wait for me.
And how long was this IVF process from the first time you started till you conceived with your twins?
So as I said, it started in 2010, and then I had my first cycle. The processes started in 2010, but my first cycle was towards the end of 2010, which did not work. And then I had another one in 2011, which did not work. Then I had my ectopic, one of the cycles, it was working, but ended up in ectopic. That was in 2012, mid 2012. And then finally, towards the end of 2012, I could conceive these twins. So,
And that
yeah.
must have been an amazing feeling going through that whole process and then finding out you conceived.
Exactly. And like I'm a kind of person, I think I would have done with just one child. So sometime with all science and everything, I agree. I agree with what science says. But at the same time, I feel like there is some supernatural force, that is there, which controls us or which helps us. Because I always used to dream about two kids, like one girl, another very naughty boy. And I was to think in my mind, I'm having hard time conceiving one, and why I'm seeing two.
Yes.
So, but then finally, like when I had ectopic, I had a dream that I was daydreaming. I was not sleeping. Somehow I felt like I was thinking about it, and I was looking at a birch tree which was outside my window. And somehow I felt like one girl, still I'm getting goosebumps while talking about this. A girl who was standing in front of me slowly moved towards that tree. When I had, lost, it's a kind of loss, right? Ectopic is also a pregnancy. And then within 6 months, I conceived twins. So I feel like, that girl had to bring
Another.
another. So I have now two angels in my life.
Wow. That's so nice to hear. Like you got two out of, one with that pregnancy.
Yeah.
And where were you? I know a lot of your friends. Were you in India or in the US? I know a
It
lot of
was in Duluth, Minnesota.
Duluth, Minnesota. I think we were having a discussion that some of your friends said go back to India, or why are you not doing this in India?
Yeah, as I said, like they asked, like, celebrities are getting, for celebrities, it is working very well in India. They're getting conceived. So celebrities' lives are different, right? I'm not a celebrity. For celebrity, even the physicians will have different focus. And for me, as I said, like my work was important. And IVF costs a lot of money. Not a lot of insurances cover that.
No one
So
knows
I
that.
had to work. I could not put all the pressure on me. Okay, I'll be relaxing in India and I'll be focusing only my IVF. I really did not want to do that. I
No.
would consider that as a failure for me.
Did you feel like any societal pressure or stigma around choosing IVF?
I believe so because a lot of people thinks IVF is something unnatural way of conceiving. I would say it's not unnatural. It is something like where we get some help in a different way. It's in vitro fertilization, is not AI. We are not getting babies artificially, right? So that mindset should be there, that understanding should be there, that education should be there. So when that education is not there, we get to hear a lot of different questions, a lot of different comments, which could sometime, like demotivate a person like me who are going through IVF.
People
And that's
don't.
the reason I feel many people try to hide all these things, that and it's not their fault, because other people who could, there are a lot of people do understand even if they conceive naturally, some people do not.
Right. No, and I thank you for bringing this in the forefront because a lot of people who do go through IVF, they don't want to admit it.
Yeah, and even like some people told me, so through IVF they heard people conceived 4 or 6 babies. So Soma, be prepared, it might happen with you as well. So I mean, that is totally misunderstanding, I would say. IVF has nothing to do with that. So those people, before laughing, should educate themselves. For me, my doctor, even before putting the embryos in my body, asked me, "Are you sure you want two babies?" I said yes. My response was so spontaneous, even like nurses started laughing. So I feel proud, now seeing the pictures of those two embryos. I can see my babies from the embryo stage.
Wow. And how was
It's
it?
the same process, just the fertilization happened outside, not inside my body.
But it's the same thing. You were conceiving and having two lives come to
Right.
form.
It's my baby. They are my
Right.
babies. They are Kaushik babies. So it's the same process. There is nothing unnatural into this. No artificial intelligence used in this.
No, but what was it like meeting your children for the first time? Like, tell us that feeling when you first met them. You went through all this process, you conceived, and you were ready. 9 months you went through the pregnancy, and then it was time to meet them.
I felt so accomplished. I wouldn't say it's paid off after going through so much because having kids is above everything. So that is why I can't say it's paid off. I totally forgot that physical pain, mental stress, and I feel God has some plan for everything. And now I don't feel even like I had to go through IVF or what I did. It's just like I have two kids and I always wanted them to be healthy. And my entire pregnancy went so smooth, so healthy. I did not have any labor pain. I gave birth to these twin kids as scheduled on 38 weeks.
Wow. And that's pretty good for twins for 38 weeks, almost full term.
Yes. And I told my doctor that I can wait for 2 more weeks. No, I do not have any issues. I'm just fine. They said, no. I mean, you are just growing huge. And then the babies they were pretty big.
Yeah, they were. Tell us the process of balancing the career and then managing people's expectations, going through the IVF process. How was that feeling? Because you're a talented career woman and how you worked up the ranks and everything. You started with IVF like what, 2010, as you're saying, and then this is 2025. You have a director position right now at Optum. So tell us that process.
To be very open, it's a long journey. Is perseverance, sustainability, and non negotiable journey. I did not want to negotiate with anything. So that is why I said that I did not want options like going back to India and get it done. I wanted to do both at the same time. So first couple of years, I did not even think about any career growth, truly speaking. So like when my gynecologist told that I'll have to go through IVF, I wanted to sustain with my job, but at the same time, I respected it and everything that was needed. And most importantly, what I'm bringing to the table was very important. So I did not do any compromise, any negotiation with those things. I did push me up to the limit at that moment also. So at that time, my boundary was like I would do the best, but my boundary was not going up to the next level. It was not, because I wanted to do justice with my work and I wanted to do justice with my health, my body, and what's my other goal as well.
Uh-huh.
I went through several negative responses, but I never leave and I take rejection as my next step.
Right.
So basically, I feel the most important thing in our life is keep learning, and keep moving and always show continuous improvements.
Yes, true. And I think you showed that through the whole IVF treatment itself. Never give up hope. Keep
Yeah,
trying.
exactly. Exactly.
That
That was a
built,
good learning for me, in fact.
yeah. You're also, I'm sure, Goshik and you have grown through that, like your partnership. It's like, IVF is
True.
just not a female emotional thing. The spouse is also involved.
Definitely. 100%.
And what advice would you give to other people who is planning to have babies, they can't conceive? Just like what would you give them, like recommendations or advice?
I would say follow your mind. It will tell you that whether your body can take it or not, because I'll be very much open here. It is not easy. Here, your body doesn't know that next day you are conceiving. Next day, you will have embryos in your body. Those are no longer eggs. So, for that, you will have to go through a lot of hormonal medications, physical and mental change. So, listen to your body. Once you decide, then move on. Don't stop. Failure will come, but we'll have to accept it. We'll not have to stop, because after even multiple failures, when we see the fruit, I mean, there is nothing. We forget everything.
When you see those failures happen, when you go through that, how long is an IVF treatment? Like 9 months? I don't know the process. Can you tell us?
It depends on person to person, that I think the physicians can tell that better. For some people, it takes longer for their body to get ready. For some people, it works earlier. It just depends. They just wait for the right cycle.
Okay. And so when that process doesn't happen, the conception doesn't happen, what do you go through? Like the emotional state. And then you're like, I want to try again. Like, what is that process? Like, just emotional.
So, Neela, what I would say, for me, it could be different again for different people. For me, I get very upset, fully drained out, and that happens for that day and that following night. Next morning, if I have any option, I come out from everything. For that day it happened, and that night for me, like, I lost everything. I behave like that. But the next morning, I think that as I cry all night, that works or whatever, I don't know. The next morning, if I just ask myself, are there options? Yes, then go for those. Forget what happened behind. Whether it's my job, any interview, or it is my IVF process, anything with my kids' exams or anything, I feel like just forget it here the next morning. If there is any option, I just keep chasing that. So then chasing something, that gives you motivation, that gives you strength. So you do not carry your previous sorrow or previous failure, whatever happened with you.
Well said. You just think about the next day, wake up and think positive.
Yes.
Never give up.
Yes.
And that's why you have 2 children. You went through so much of the hard work, you and Kaushik, and your career, you balanced it, you juggled it, and now you have 2 kids. And how old are they now?
They'll be turning 12 years old in August.
And tell me their names.
Girl is Vidisha, and boy is 4 minutes younger than her. His name is Vivan.
Wow. And they're blessings.
Absolutely.
They're truly blessings. Wow. And it's such a journey. And I, again, thank you, Shoma, for coming out and telling us about your journey. Because, again, a lot of people don't want to say that they had IVF, but you're giving people this opportunity to say there is a way to conceive if you need to. And IVF is not bad.
Definitely.
Is there anything else you want to say to our viewers?
I would just say, just follow your mind and follow your body and see what it says, and perseverance. That is the most important thing. Do not give up. Keep trying.
No, you are an idol for many here.
Thank you so much.
You are. You're an idol because you balanced a lot. You went through a lot. People think of it physically, but it's also a lot mentally. Being there for your spouse, your family, your employees, your subordinates. It's like a juggling experience.
It is.
It is. Well, thank you, Shoma. Anything else you want to say to our viewers?
No, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful year ahead. Best of luck for everything that everyone watching this video is planning for their upcoming endeavors. All the best to all the viewers from my side today.
Thank you, Shoma. I'm so happy to have had you. You are just so great as a guest to have on our podcast. Viewers, you can view us at SBW Talks. Please follow and share. And thank you for listening. Thank you, Shoma.
Thank you.